It's Monday, August 3rd, 2020, and I'm here at the British Transportation Museum, whose website is britishcarmuseum.org, and this is in Dayton, Ohio. It's a by appointment only museum, and my appointment is due to start in about 4 minutes. Well, I always want to ask permission. So this is a 1948 Morris 8, right?
Yeah, Morris Z-van. Yeah, it was a van.
Oh, for a van.
Yeah. It's a cutaway on Lotus and Gerald Strange out of Indiana.
Oh, yeah.
The Z-vans were used by their postal service and telephone company. And this goes in late 40s, so it's after the war, so we figured they had to train a lot of new mechanics. They lost a lot of mechanics in the war, so this we believe to be a training device. Cut away out of the way.
And we're into the MGs here, or at least a couple of them. And what's this one?
TD, MG-TD. Behind it is a sedan version, MGYA. Essentially the same drivetrain as a TD. Drophead coupe is a Vauxhall, 1938 Vauxhall.
That's the black one on the right?
No, it's
oh, the one that's opened up there.
Brown, yeah, it's brownish.
So that's a Vauxhall, okay.
General Motors bought up Vauxhall in like 1925, but when we went to pick it up, we weren't sure whether it was going to have a Chevy 6-cylinder or what, but it's a true Vauxhall. GM didn't do anything much with the brand until about 1940. And these Vauxhall never made a convertible, so this came off the assembly line, the chassis and drivetrain, and went down the block to a company called Salmon and Son, and they did the custom convertible body interior and all that.
And what's this one here, the black MG?
That's the MGYA.
Oh, that's the MGYA, okay. Okay, same thing, except sedan, gotcha.
Four-seater than the TD.
This is something that somebody had it right pat.
Yeah, rubber bumper B. Our founder, Dick Smith, it's his car.
Okay.
So he's, unfortunately, he's at home right now, but we can lose him. Then we got a metal bumper B being loaned to us right now. We haven't stuck it in a good spot just yet. And behind it is a Ford Council. It's 1959, I think. Kind of rare. There's supposedly only like 30 of them, the convertible Ford Councils left. Single families under all these years. They gave the car to their daughter and told her, oh yeah, we're downsizing and we'll give you the car, but you can't sell it. We don't want you selling it.
What, an Austin 1936 Mayfair body?
Yeah, Austin 20, Mayfair limousine. Very punch for the day. Matter of fact, they supposedly the Royals preferred the Austins versus the Rolls Royces because they were more reliable. There's been somebody's crashed into your car, go with us instead. Yeah, it's crazy.
Got a boat.
Yeah, Irish Correct boats. That's our nautical division. Joking about bringing up the Queen Mary up to Little Miami. And a British Seagull outboard motors. Sailors like those, very lightweight, real efficient outboard. The wind dies and you need something.
Right.
It'll put you around, or in the harbor or whatever. These trees here came our way. Matter of fact, they're getting ready to crush it. And we said, no, why don't you donate it to us? Hank Beachy races very successfully up in Michigan. He had a street Mini and he had the ice racer for the winter. Well, one engine. So in the summer the engine was in the streetcar, and then the winter it was in this. Unfortunately, he passed away. The engine was in the ice racer. The guy that bought the pair of them just wanted the streetcar, so he kind of really hacked up the nose to get the engine out, put in the streetcar. So nobody wanted the ice racer. He was getting ready to crush it. He said, no, we'd be glad to have it. I knew Hank Beachy, and he was a very successful guy, so I was glad to get it. So now we found another engine we're sticking in it. High Mini Owners Mini Club is putting it together. Matter of fact, they'll be in here this Saturday working on it again. We've been very lucky with local car clubs. Local MG Club is restoring an MGA coupe back there. See the chassis, and farther over you'll see the bodies under ready to be painted. And the green MGB with the white stripes, the University of Dayton Motorsports Club is working on that. They're kind of learning as they go. So, okay, is that? Or now they're kind of self-quarantining with this thing, and university's closed down until the end of August. Then way back there is a yellow TR7 that Miami Valley Triumph Club is working on for us. In fact, one of their guys just left. Scott's been faithfully keeping that project going, but there's a bunch of them coming in this Saturday.
What's this one here? The is that a Land Rover? A Range Rover?
Yeah. Got donated to us. And the block there is a V12 Jaguar block we found, and we're going to make a coffee table out of it. So just because we can, you know. So you can get snow up in the engine bay, and
very Spartan on the inside, of course.
Nothing much there. Then there are wheel discs. It doesn't run front brakes, just rear brakes, because you can't stop on snow. Anyway. He's got a plate to go on the outside of the wheel and a plate to go on the inside of the wheel to keep it from filling up full of snow and ice. So that's just completely different.
And this guy here.
Yeah, more of a show car.
Is this also an MG?
No, this is a Jaguar.
This is a Jaguar. Okay.
Jaguar.
Wow.
It's been converted to Weber's, and then it's got nitrous oxide on top of it as well.
Wow.
And then all that extra air equip, and he's got an extra cooling system, and it's dry sumped, and the nitrous lines, and the normal gas lines. There's a fortune air equip there.
And is that actually part of the museum, or somebody just loans it in here? It's on loan?
Dr. Stan loaned it to us. He said somebody owed him money, and that's how they paid him. They gave him the car. So I don't know whether they owed him. They didn't pay on a lobotomy or what. I don't know what the. That Stan's a cardiologist, maybe.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah. It's more of a show car.
Yeah.
Got the nitrous.
Hard to really use it properly.
Yeah, got a big amp system, and then here's the nitrous bottles in the trunk, and.
Oh, that's the amplifier. That's the audio system.
Yeah. It's like Radio America right there, you know. And this is another Jag, essentially a Jaguar XK150, but it's got D-Jag fiberglass nose and birdcage Maserati rear body work. It's just all real radical car. So, again, dry sumped and triple SUs, and it makes the sound. I mean, for vintage cars, looks like it's going to rip up the pavement. And it's got a in and out box. It's either going full bore or not moving at all. So it's interesting because in here you can't go fast. You got to run. So you chirps the tires, rolls a little bit, chirps the tires, rolls a little bit. So you go online and search for Black Jaguar, and this comes up. It has quite a history out in California of racing.
Well, I put it on there.
Where is the? Is it in the sort of nice. It's been loaned to us. Got it in here.
Slick.
So when I did it, I had it upside down. I had the engine upside down. The other day,
American drivetrain, essentially the same drivetrain as a Mini. Cutaway. It was donated by the Jaguar and Land Rover University down in Atlanta. They just happened to find it in their warehouse, so they called us and said, "Hey, you want this?" So heck yeah, so tried it down and got it.
Yeah, the one that I mentioned that we had in our barn, did not have a. I mean, this is what, a straight 4.
Yeah.
That engine was more like a 2-cylinder V engine.
Really?
Looked like a little model airplane engine in it.
Sonnet, maybe?
I don't know, but maybe it was a 3-cylinder.
Three?
It had an unusual odd number of cylinders in it. I think it was air cooled. I don't think it had a water system in it, but I may be remembering wrong. But I know it had an odd. What was another one, like the Geo Metro that they sold? That was like a 3-banger.
Yeah.
It was some weird little engine like that, but it wasn't a conventional like straight something. It was a weird configuration.
I can't think of too many air-cooled British cars.
I may be remembering wrong on the air cooled part, but I know it was an odd number of cylinders. I wish I could picture it better. I was looking through my old slide collection, trying to see if I could find any pictures, and I couldn't find them. I probably didn't take any.
This is a classic Cooper S. I think it's a 1964 with some rally history in Greece. So
In Greece.
Yeah. So it came from Europe.
So this is pretty much stock then, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's why it appraised at $36,000. So
Wow, that's nice.
Dead original Cooper S's bring a little good money here in the U.S. In fact, some of the Cooper S's here in the U.S. we have some friends that they sold their Cooper S's to somebody in England for like $30,000. Some guy out of Columbus sent one to England. So here we're exporting minis back to England.
And this is,
Yeah, Tim Bossie's loaned this to us, his mini wagon that he's kind of customized.
I didn't even know they made mini wagons. That's a surprise to me.
Club and Fran, which is our flat roads.
It's got a mirror on the floor, is that?
So look at the headliner, it's also a Union Jack.
Oh yeah, it's a Union Jack on the headliner. Cool. And this one belongs to the museum, right?
This belongs to Tim.
It belongs
to the museum.
Okay.
And the yellow van belongs to the museum. This one's for sale. It's an Irish Mini. A couple loaned it to us, and they're out in Arizona. I transferred to Arizona from the base.
Oh yeah, wheels on the right side.
Yeah.
I'd make a donation just to walk around.
It looks a little bit more modern.
Yeah. It's a 1993, so a little bit newer. 93, 94. I think it's a 93.
Now these things they're selling as the minis now, the BMWs.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the little VW Bugs, right?
Back there. Yeah.
They're pretty, sort of the same shape, but.
Both of your ladies? The Mini Moke got donated to us.
And what's the significance of the Moke? I've never heard of that.
Well, it's a mini drivetrain, but it's a Jeep version.
Oh,
Made
okay.
for their military, but they weren't that useful for the military. They not enough ground clearance really to do much.
So it's something they mass produce, though, right?
Oh yeah, not in big numbers, but so now everybody kind of pimps them out and they become glorified golf carts. So the utilitarian whole theme got kind of dropped. And then they did make, in the books, they made a 20 Moke, so with the engine up front, and they added an engine in the back, so it was a 4-wheel drive. And they even shipped one to the U.S. Army up in Michigan, Warren, Michigan. I think they have a proving grounds there. So and the Army said, not enough ground clearance, so they never adopted it. But we thought the car got sent back to England or crushed, didn't know which.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out it's in a warehouse in St. Mary's, Ohio. And some people of a trucking company have found it, and they've since restored it. So it's kind of neat, a very rare British vehicle that's here in the U.S. It almost dropped through the cracks and maybe got lost.
And this is another sort of industrialized looking.
Yeah, it's kind of a kit car built on the Moke. It's called an Anderson Cub. So Tim, who just left, this is his as well. So he owns the old mini wagon and the Anderson Cub. Imported that.
Got the AMC.
Yeah, Anderson.
That's for Anderson?
Yeah, and,
okay.
And DRSON or. Yeah, Tim has fun with it.
What do we have back here?
Yeah, Bug-Eyed Sprite. And beside is an MG midget. Turn on some more lights.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot better. Thank you.
More light?
I think that's good. Thank you.
Get them all. I think that's the port lights. Oh yeah, okay.
And this is a, what is this? It's another Austin.
Austin 1800.
Austin 1800, okay.
It's front wheel drive and with a hydroelastic suspension. It's leaning. Do we have a flat tire? Well, it's a low tire. Well, we might have suspension issues. I see some leakage.
Yeah.
These kind of have a hydraulic suspension. Very nice ride, as some of the classic minis do too. Yeah, I think the Cooper S I was telling you about is a hydroelastic as well, but the rest of them are rubber, solid rubber. But I think this one must have sprung a leak because I can see some antifreeze like out of the suspension.
This is a little more deluxe though, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
obviously bigger, but
bigger, rear seat.
it looks better appointed
Yeah.
and
But very smooth riding. They're called land crabs in England because the wheels are at all four corners there, really.
Mhm.
And they had a very successful rally history, the Paris to Dakar rally, or some of those very grueling road rallies. And they were successful.
And back here, what do we have this? This is another Austin.
Yeah, an Austin A35.
You said 8035?
A35.
A35, okay.
They made an A30, A35. In fact, there's some sticker on it. Gallop and Gertie, the race is 30, because we have a friend of ours in England, Alex Klinsman. He races an Austin 30. So he sent us a sticker from his race car. But the interesting thing about the A35 is they have hydraulic brakes on the front, but mechanical brakes on the back. So we first got it, we thought we had a brake fluid leak in the back. Well, that was an axle seal actually, and I looked at them, well, hey, it's mechanical. So it's just strange. I don't know why they went that route. Because the mechanical brakes are still driven off a hydraulic slave cylinder, so it's still, they haven't been able to completely get away from hydraulics. You know, where they thought the mechanical brakes would be a backup, that ain't to be.
And this is marked out with Jensen Car Audio and Mowag.
Yeah, that's my old race car.
This is yours,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, matter of fact, March of this year, I've owned it 50 years.
Wow.
It's a 1970. It's a 1960, but I bought it in March of 70.
And what type of racing was that?
Autocrossing.
Autocross, okay.
So it's a timed drag race with curves, is the way I phrase it. So it's been all over, from Boston to Vancouver, BC, and Florida to Chicago, and all parts in between. So it's a lot of fun, but I've kind of aged out of that.
This is a legit Ohio license plate?
Yeah.
And hysterical?
Well, it's kind of modified, yeah.
Oh.
Went from historic to hysterical.
I mean, did you modify it, or did
I
this?
did, yes, I
The
did.
state didn't do that by some.
I confess guilty.
And this is another Mini, right?
Yeah, that's a new one.
This is one of the. This is the BMW
Yeah,
Minis.
that's a 2006. So by comparison, you see the size.
Yeah, same shape sort of, but bigger.
Yeah, they took the theme but went a different direction. and much more luxurious. It's probably fairly stiff ride for a luxury car. At least I thought they were aiming at the luxury, sporting luxury end of things.
And this is the Morris Minor here, right?
Right, correct, yeah. And that was also owned by our founder. He donated it to us. So we've been going through a few things on it to complete it a little bit. Just got new windshield rubber put in it.
And let's see. Chekigian?
Chekigian, yeah.
Fine Jewelers.
Yeah, well, we put that on there. It got donated, Roch donated the A35 while he was alive. When he passed away, his family donated his van to us. And Roch had a jewelry store in Boston, and we found the signage for the jewelry store and thought it was appropriate that we reproduce the signage and put it on the side of the van, because these were traditionally a tradesman's type vehicle in England. Your plumber, electrician, they come around in a minivan. So we thought, we'll put Roch signage on there, and that kind of connects Roch to the vehicle and the fact that these were trade commercial type vehicles. So glad to get it. Roch is an eccentric guy. He's Armenian. Just the life of the party wherever he goes. So he's missed by the mini community in general. Vehicles, so it'd be kind of neat if we can pull it off. Car show and have them and then the virus hit and we had to cancel the whole thing. That was this past May, unfortunately. Any farther, we kind of obviously got British ties, but we haven't been able to find one. And then that's what they're familiar with.
Yeah.
That's probably the way of doing it back then.
So this is, let's see, what is this? This is that's a Humber. Yeah. And Raleigh's and
Humber cars, and so we have some Humber bikes. Then we have folding bikes. Brits are big on those. Because I think small cars, so you fold them up and put them in the trunk, or you fold them up and take it on the bus.
Oh, these ones here, yeah.
Yeah, so you have a Raleigh 20, Raleigh 16, have a molten AM and a molten stowaway, and then that silver one on the end is an all aluminum Bickerton.
Oh yeah, the Bickerton.
Now we need a Brompton. I think that's the modern British one. I'm from the Packards Museum, but you can see it's right-hand drive. It was bought by the U.S. Ambassador to England back in the day, 1926. Unfortunately, he died in 1937, so the car came back to the U.S. But his replacement was Joseph Kennedy, the Kennedy clan, as the U.S. Ambassador to England. So I keep forgetting his name, Ronabow or something. Yeah, Bingham, Robert Worth Bingham.
Is this just a stowage thing, or?
That's the golf clubs.
You could stick the golf clubs under there.
From either side, yeah.
Was that a normal feature of the car?
Well, for these, yeah.
Well, that's a big block of an engine, isn't it?
Yeah, big straight 8.
Well.
Of course, Packards were known for powerful, smooth running engines. I like comparing this, of course, you saw the 1936 Austin 20, and there's like 10 years difference in design. You know, the Packards kept moving forward in design, and the Austins are kind of stuck in where they were. We also have a 1936 Daimler limousine. It needs a lot of restoration, but you can see it's still the old school. Never really caught up.
And this is another MG.
Another rubber bumper MGB. Our treasurer passed away. This car.
A lot of empty space in that engine compartment.
Yeah, they need room to work on it.
So, that's a nice looking car.
Yeah, it is. I think Packards got it for sale as is for like $35,000. Occasionally they bring somebody through that's semi-interested.
I think that is the one I'm going to on Thursday.
Packard?
The America's Packard Museum.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
But that's not the one that's down here. I think that's the one that's up towards Cleveland, right?
Yeah.
Whatever the name of the town is.
And I think the Packard Homestead is up that way. That's why they have a museum there.
Back here. And
that Daimler is a 1936 Daimler. So again, it's way behind the times compared to the Packard. But its claim to fame was, if you saw the movie The King's Speech,
oh yeah,
Colin Firth, it ends up with the coronation procession of King George VI. And this was actually in that coronation procession.
This exact one or the same model?
This exact car. This car. Now we don't know who drove it and what dignity. We were sure it isn't. The Royals were not in it. The Royals always use Ranley-bodied Daimlers. The Royals loved Daimlers, but they liked the Ranley-bodied. They didn't. But they had. Now saying that sounds really great. But there were 110 Daimlers in that procession. So it's one of 110.
So it's probably not one of the ones that was in the front of the cameras up real close,
not, yeah.
just there in the background.
Yeah. Then nobody kept records of who drove what. And matter of fact, the records for this car, we can track it back to the where it came from, but one of those records got lost in the war. Like that motor vehicle office got bombed or something. Anyway, they couldn't come up with anything. So we lose some of the history. But it got imported by Carl Cleve down in Cincinnati, a real eccentric guy, and he drove it for a year or two, and then he parked it in his field. And he had several cars like that, a whole bunch of cars. Matter of fact, he had an extremely rare Ferrari that parked, and when he died, there was a big hubbub about GT. Yeah, they're kind of rare. Yeah, donated by Nick Niehoff.
And what do we have here?
Those are Triumph Heralds. They're the coupes, the two-seater.
The Triumph Herald, you said, right?
Yeah. We got it donated to us. Originally, I thought there were two cars there, complete cars, but no, it looks like we'll be lucky to make one out of both. But one, of course, is more complete and has the drivetrain all put together. There was an alley between the two buildings, and the city vacated the alley, and the two got connected.
Joined up. You can kind of see where the walls are like that, yeah.
Huh. And some storage. We got some very serious roof issues back here.
It's interesting the time, nobody would bother to make these decorative pillars in a warehouse anymore.
Yeah. It's kind of neat. And we have a Ferguson tractor, and that salmon covered roof back there is a Humber Super Snipe. Harry Ferguson had a innovative hitch for plows and things, and then later on he and Henry Ford got together, and then they had the Ford Ferguson, and I guess there were some legal issues there. They were at each other's throats. Somehow Ford came out on the top. Well, I think Harry Ferguson got the money, or got the settlement, but I'm not sure he got the money. Yeah. Ford was pretty shrewd.
Now we came around the other side before.
Yeah.
I don't think we got to this guy.
Oh, yeah, that's
This is
actually
Citroen.
a French car. It's a Citroen Mahari. But they were never built in France. They were French owned and French designed, but built everywhere but Spain, Portugal, Yugoslavia, I think.
And this is plastic, right?
Yeah, ABS plastic. Same material as ping pong balls. So I'd like to see two of these in a wreck. See how far they bounce. But it's a 2CV drivetrain, opposed to two-cylinder of about 600 cc.
And then back here we have another Jag.
XJ6, 1987 XJ6. Just got donated. Both of these came in to us within the same month, I think. The Citroen we found is just across the river, about a mile away. A meter reader of all things said, "Hey, I got something you might be interested in." And he turned around and donated it to us. It's not running, but I've been sitting for about 20 years. But the Jag is a very nice car. He was a dentist. Matter of fact, the fellow helping us with the TR7, Scott Huey, is a dentist, and they knew each other. So when Bill Borchers passed away, Scott suggested maybe we contact his widow. And she has a XG.
And this TR7.
And yeah. My guy Triumphs is helping us with that, put it together. So they're going to start coming back in this coming Saturday. Well, Scott's been working on it all along. And the green one there is a Morris Oxford Traveler, which I think it's a 1960. And the big thing about them is wagons, Travelers in England usually they were all woodies because of the expensive steel, and the shortages. So this is a big advertising campaign around the all-steel Traveler. They made a big thing about it. Even that we got a book of poems titled All Steel Traveler. A lot of nice book of poems, but one of them is specifically about the All Steel Traveler and the family's ties to it.
And this is Bentley, yeah.
On loan from the Packard Museum. Bob Signum kind of founded the Packard Museum. He'd come in occasionally and take it out for a drive. I always tease him about it being date night, taking his wife out in the Bentley with the top down. But unfortunately, Bob passed on. Now his son's kind of running the show.
It's kind of surprising that it's not exactly roomy in the back.
Yeah, the size and all, you'd think they'd be.
Yeah.
I mean, that Austin 1800's got a big back.
And this is a 72 Jag XJ6?
Yeah, Series 1. So it's. Never thought much about them, but I guess the Jaguar guys really love the Series 1, especially the coupe. Now, this is a four-door, but the coupe is a little bit shorter wheelbase. They do have a nice aggressive stance with the wheels and all. And of course, they have the inline twin cam 6 motor and comfortable. It needs some attention.
I always remarked on that, or thought about it if I didn't remark on it.
Yeah.
Was how it seemed like the first cars I saw with the wheels so close to the corners and the aggressive stance, as you put it, were like the Mercedes and things like that. And now it's more common on just about everything, but used to have like all the American cars with these huge overhangs, and and the wheels looked like they were from the wrong car because they were so inboard of the bodywork. And
here's another Daimler, but this is essentially same as a Mark II Jaguar. And right beside it is the Jaguar S-Type, was basically a Mark II Jaguar, but it has the XK independent rear suspension on it. So it's kind of a smooth riding, very good handling Jaguar sedan. And this is one of my favorites. I mean, just drives nice, corners nice, and that big 6-cylinder puts out the power.
You take any of these out for things like parades or anything?
Yeah, we do occasionally. And the Jag's convertible there, it's an XJS convertible, so it's essentially the same as the white car with the top chopped off. And originally Jaguar didn't think there was a market for convertibles, so this is actually a conversion done by S&I Eisenhower in Cincinnati. And they were so popular that then Jaguar started making their own convertibles. So there's I don't know how long before they got the message, but and this is on loan from the Packard Museum.
So this is one that had the conversion?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think the S&I Eisenhower did a better job. It just looks, the top stows down further, it just has good lines, versus the factory one, the top's sticking up about a foot. Oh yeah, and then this beautiful XJS. Bruce Healy bought it right, and then he proceeded to put, I don't know, 25 grand into it, and just restored the heck out of it. Beautiful car, nice driver. And the Jaguar people, the Jaguar Association of North America, they have a concours competition. Once you hit 1,000 points, you can't enter in their competitions anymore. So this is a 998 point car. They leave a flaw or two.
Yeah. Keep it coming.
I like Bruce's story. Of course, he's got a donated memory of his dad, who was something with the British Foreign Office in Rio de Janeiro. And Bruce was a teenager, about to graduate. He said, "Hey, Dad, I want you to buy me a Jaguar." And his dad said, "No, I won't buy you a Jaguar. I won't buy you any car, but I'll pay for your education, and with that, you can get it whatever car you want." So here, when he donates this to us, he drives in his new Aston Martin. So it just, I mean, he made the education pay off.
There you
I got
go.
the education, but I wasn't able to make it pay off that well.
And this is
Another XJ.
another
sedan.
XJ, yeah.
Yeah, like the silver one with the wire wheels. So kind of nice. Tom Poole out of Columbus made it. And the brown one, the XK, is on loan from the Packards Museum. It's for sale. With that. I'm not sure what they get for these now. 65,000, 95,000, somewhere in there. They were talking about what they might sell it for. And it's converted to Weber carburetors instead of the fuel injection like this thing has on it. You can see that fuel injection, all those vacuum tubes. I mean, it's a nightmare.
That's a Sunbeam, right?
Yeah, Sunbeam Alpine. And it's the same model year color as the one in the Dr. No movie, if you remember it. Chasing Sean Connery being, it's the very first James Bond movie, and they were bad guys chasing him, and he was in a Sunbeam Alpine with his head kind of stuck above the windshield. This has got a hard top on it, which is the only difference between it and the movie car. So kind of neat, that little claim to fame. And reading up on the movie, I guess they were filming the movie in Bahamas. Well, they went to local car lot and rented a Sunbeam Alpine for the chase scene. So kind of odd. Now the Bond cars are all modified, all trick machine guns and everything. It isn't just a rental car.
And this is, what's this one?
Humber Super Snipe. Yeah.
Oh, it's another Super Snipe like the one.
Yeah, like
the one on the other side.
Yeah. So we ended up with 3 of these. The first one we bought off of eBay, thinking we'd never get one. Matter of fact, we didn't even win the bidding. A guy outbid us, and a month or 2 later, he called and offered it to us for what we bid. He started putting money into it. His wife found out about it. Said, "It's to go." So he offered it to us. So we go all the way over to Philadelphia to bring it back, and since then we've gotten this one and another one in better shape donated to us locally.
And a Lotus, something or another. Eclat, yeah.
The big ugly front bumper, federal bumpers.
Yeah, I know.
From LA, so the California sun just ate that bumper up. So keep wondering how we're going to refurbish that. Very luxurious car, very leather interior. In front of it is the Lotus Elan. That came to us in boxes, so it took us 3 years to put it together. And then at the end of the 3 years, I discovered I really don't fit this car. I mean, it was a convertible drop top, maybe I'd be okay, but that hard top, I can't wedge myself in there. And then I don't bend that way anymore either. Yeah, Rolls Royce donated by Buck Niehoff out of Cincinnati. So Buck donated the Rolls Royce, and that MGB GT was his brother, Nick Niehoff, donated that. So it's kind of nice.
And then this is a 72 Lotus Elan
Yeah.
S4.
So that's a federal S4. So when we started putting it together, like we couldn't find a wiring diagram because they didn't make that many federal S4s. They were more or less made for California. And just no wiring diagrams. Even the expert manual that this one guy wrote, the real pioneer.
And this is a Herald, right?
Yeah, Triumph Hero. So you saw the coupes on the other side, the two projects. Here's the Herald convertible, pretty complete. Then behind it is the Herald sedan, which is the rare, but it's the rougher. They didn't import too many sedans. They were mostly convertibles. So it needs to, still needs a paint job and another TLC. Our Herald convertible came in through Bologna. Bologna?
I think Bologna is right, yeah.
So a U.S. Navy guy bought it there and brought it back to the U.S. And Roger Larson and his son lived in Maryland at the time. They bought it from him and restored it, and they brought it to Ohio. And Roger got sick, and they ended up donating it to us in his memory. So,
Triumph Spitfire. And the motorcycle, yeah.
That original Triumph Spitfire, the guy, John Clark, was a radio engineer here in town, and he went to a radio, we were talking about conferences and conventions. He went out to one of their conventions in Las Vegas and won this there. So he got back, he just drove it to car shows, and that's about it. So the top has never been off of it, the hard top, the soft top has never been up. Just a time warp, dead original car. So we're tickled to death to get it. I think that was before my time, but our president at the time, our founder, Dick Smith, bought it from the estate, and then he donated it to the museum, like $1,000 a year. He took a tax write-off, slow tax write-off. So, and another earlier Triumph. And it's, the guy doing it didn't value it as much, but it's a beautiful car. Had a leaky fuel tank, so we've got another fuel tank we got to put on it yet. That clip down. There you go. Yeah. It's nicely done. I think it needs the clutch master cylinder. And then one of our guys took, his big thing was to take the carbs off. I can rebuild those and take them off. Well, maybe they don't need rebuilding. But I think this is another father-son restoration that turned out great.
It's interesting how the wheel wells come up with the hood.
Yeah.
Makes it a lot more open and easy to work on.
It does. I'm envious.
I take it this is for the battery here?
Yeah, the battery tray. Yeah. And the carbs are in the box there, I think. So
yeah.
Yeah, in there. So maybe put together, probably throw a rebuild kit in all that. But beautiful car. Then the red, that's a red TR3 from Oklahoma. We went out there, it was being donated to us, so we drove out, traded it back. But it was a husband and wife. Darn, I can't remember their name. Anyway, it took them 10 or 12 years to restore it. Over 3 states, they kept getting transferred around, so they kept taking the project with them. They restored it, and then they drove it for about 10 years. And then unfortunately he got sick and died, and maybe in his early 50s, so untimely death. But she called us up and donated the offer she was getting for it. She was afraid they were going to erase it or tear it up or stick a V8 in it, all those stories. So she preferred to come to a place that keep it intact. So yeah, I'm just grateful to get it.
And this is 60 Peerless.
Peerless GT, yeah.
That's the brand I don't think I've ever heard of.
Oh, well, there was a luxury car in the 30s, 20s and 30s, out of Cleveland, Ohio, the Peerless Motor Car Company. But they also made trucks, and the trucks were used heavily in World War I. Matter of fact, I think Pershing used Peerless trucks to chase Pancho Villa back in the day. But used in World War I, and after the war, they brought all these trucks back to England and refurbished them for civilian use because they were highly regarded. They just wouldn't break. I mean, they're just so robust and well built. So he got a very good name, and so he rebuilt them in a warehouse in Slough, England. And many years later, these guys got together and built this sports car. And it's all fiberglass, essentially a Triumph drivetrain, but with the Dion rear end. Well, it got a nice design. It's a very well handling, good handling car. And they got, well, what are we going to call it? And they just remembered that the Peerless name was so well thought of, so they just kept the name going. So no real tie-in to the car company out of Cleveland, other than this warehouse they got built in. But
Now this is interesting. Is there supposed to be a bumper on here that's missing, or?
well, just little bumperettes on each side of that box, and we don't have those. And so little bumperettes on the back, and those are fiberglass too, just thicker fiberglass.
It looks kind of like headlight forward on this.
Yeah.
You run
Later
into,
versions, they had them Frenched in a little bit, the headlights. So,
nice car though.
yeah. This is number 220. They only made 300, and that's the other thing. Number 220. The guy that donated this to us, Dan Rose, he had two of them. He had number 18, which is a right-hand drive, and he had number 220, left-hand drive. And he preferred the earlier cars, so he kept it, although it was rougher looking. I mean, it had Bondo, it had some rivets you could see, but he liked the patina. It would have been a 260 V8, but I don't know what's in it now, whether it's a 289.
Sunbeam Tiger. Wow.
I think it might be.
Probably by Ford, yeah.
Yeah. So Jerry Diaz built this. He was going to go racing, and then his doctor advised him not to. So he kind of sawed up the roll cage that he had in it, and just been taking it to car shows and things.
Do these retract?
No, that's just the hood pin catches it. So
Oh, this sticks up.
yeah. And then,
Does the hood sit up higher than this, or it overlaps
I think
this?
it does a little bit. Those rubber bumpers, I think, allow it
Kinda
to
like
stick,
around here,
so you
sort
can
of,
vent,
yeah.
vent the engine compartment.
Interesting.
Yeah. Beautiful car. I think he was wanting like $95,000 on it. He isn't actively trying to sell it, but we're glad to get it. They are bringing, some of the tires are bringing big money. But they're kind of very fast, and they can be very tricky. You can get a lot of power, short wheelbase.
Mm-hmm.
You can come around on them pretty quick.
And then another Triumph TR3.
Yeah, this is a TR3A, so it's later. You saw our red TR3 and the TR3A. So it's a wide mouth, and ours is a small mouth car. Steve Salmon just bought it off of eBay, sight unseen. He was just here this morning. We took it out for a ride and brought it back in. Got a few oil leaks.
How do you get it out of here?
Drive it. And
Sort of
ramp
drive it down that way and then out?
around,
I found out that this building that the British Auto Museum or Transportation Museum is an old Kroger warehouse that they used for the surrounding Kroger grocery stores in the Dayton area. I think dating from the early 1900s.